Well, our top story, police are still trying to confirm a motive in that mass shooting in Vaughan. Francesco Villi is accused of shooting 6 people, killing 5 of them on Sunday night at a condominium building near Jane and Rutherford. The victims were found in separate units. Villi was then fatally shot by police.
I am Francesco Villi, the one and only in Canada.
Villi had a long-standing dispute with the building's condominium board. 3 of those killed were board members, and the injured woman is the wife of a board member as well. The court documents show the 73-year-old had a long history of threatening members of the board, believed that they had a conspiracy to systematically murder him. The board in turn accused Villi of harassing tenants, swearing at some of them, and even filming some of them against their will in the lobby. Our crime analyst, Steve Ryan, joins us now live from Vaughan with the latest on the investigation. Steve, the mental health piece, it's a major component here of the cause and effect.
It certainly appears to be so, George. That is something I'm going to talk with our guest, Joseph Newberger, who is a criminal defense lawyer. I'm going to speak with him in a very quick minute. But what I want to get out is that this has been an ongoing dispute, and it's been in and out of both the civil and criminal courts since at least 2019. And it does raise some concerns when it comes to, was there signs or evidence of mental health? Was that missed? And if peace bonds, if restraining orders were issued, how effective are they in a case like this? And I have the perfect man to talk to about this right now. So, Joseph, thank you for your time, first of all, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak with you.
Always a pleasure, Steve.
So, sir, you heard what I just said, I hope, with regards to the peace bond or the restraining orders being issued, number one. How effective would they be in a place where 3 of the people that he had been allegedly targeting or harassing lived in the same building? So you're almost setting this guy up for failure, number one. And there seems to be all kinds of signs of mental health issues as well that appear to be missed. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
Yeah, you raised some excellent points, Steve. So it looks like there was certainly in place a civil order by the civil court, because there was proceedings to stop him from acting out on a number of harassing behaviors, including contacting tenants and members of the board and other such matters. But what I have read from the material that was filed with the court, clearly there was breaches of that order. So that civil order had very little impact, and they were seeking some sort of remedy as what they call a contempt of the order because it was breached, which was really financial. So as you say, that type of civil order did not have very much impact, especially in a condominium setting where people are going to have incidental contact in all the common areas, where you can almost anticipate that there will be interactions and then breaches as a result of some contact. From the criminal side, we don't know yet if there were any peace bonds in place or any proceedings. But again, to explain to our listeners, a peace bond is an order of a court for somebody to obey certain terms, which can include non-contact with other members or tenants of the building. Unfortunately, there would have to be an exception, again, for incidental contact, unless the behavior was so serious that, maybe they'd ban him from the condominium. But that wasn't the case here. And again, it sets him up for a breach, because you can imagine how easy it is to come in conflict with some of those terms. And unfortunately, it was not and is not very effective when you have somebody with a serious mental disorder.
So if you were representing, hypothetically, a client like this man, and he exhibited the traits that we were talking about here, the erratic behavior, even being in the court when the court would say, okay, you have got this peace bond, if you will, where you are to stay away from the people in the building and not have any contact and stay X amount of feet away from them, what would you say as a defense counsel in a court of law with regards to a hypothetical situation like that?
Yeah, so as a defense lawyer, you have to be very careful, because our obligation is to our client. We have a duty of loyalty to represent their interests and take their instructions. Now, it gets a bit difficult when you have a client who may be suffering from a delusional disorder. In this case, we've heard this individual harbored beliefs that people were out to harm him. In a situation like that, one would hope that that information that would come out during the peace bond proceeding may alert the Crown Attorney and the judge in the court to see if there are other steps that could be taken, like some sort of treatment clause. But again, nobody can be forced into treatment in Canada unless somebody is charged with a very serious offense and then incarcerated. So on a peace bond, there is still, a very anemic way of assisting with somebody who has a delusional or other mental health disorder that could lead potentially to violence. And any defense lawyer who would be involved in that, as well as a Crown, I would imagine would be extremely concerned about what could happen.
And could the courts not, and you would know better than I, could the courts not order an assessment of this individual if they had concerns based on the history of the behavior, the delusions, as you talked about? Could the courts do that? Do they have the authority, the jurisdiction to do that?
At some point down the road, if somebody is charged with a number of serious offenses, and it's pretty clear on the evidence from the police and from witness statements and complainant statements that there is exhibition of very serious delusional beliefs that are resulting in dangerous behavior, there is the ability for the court itself on its own notion to seek an assessment. The Crown can ask that as well. If the defense lawyer is instructed by the client to oppose it, then they oppose it, and then that goes to a hearing. Again, in Canada, it's very difficult, both in the criminal system and civil system, to try and get an assessment in place, but it is much easier in the criminal context. But you have to be far down the road of fairly serious charges and fairly serious behavior to have that issued by a court.
Well said. I thank you for your time, and as always, your insight is bang on. So thank you again, sir.
Thank you, Steve. Take care.